So we'll start with our first question. When did you know what you wanted to accomplish in life? When did you decide to go into your respective field, and what made you decide to do so?
So if the question is, what do I want to be when I grow up? I'm still working on it. I've spent 25 years working in this amorphous think tank community, and I've spent the last 5 years here in Perth running a similar think tank. It was not something that I had a vision to do. I didn't understand it before I started it. I'm a country boy. I was born in New Mexico, raised in rural Arizona as a 1% white minority in the middle of America. I was born in the Navajo Indian Reservation. My father taught primary school there. So the first 18 years of my life were a very, very different experience. I went to university. I had an opportunity to serve as a missionary for 2 years. I don't know if you've seen all the signs around Perth for the Book of Mormon musical. I was a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, except for I don't sing and I don't dance. Sorry, you get a different version of the musical. But I got called to serve in South Korea as a 19-year-old young man. And that fundamentally changed my world, right? I went from rural Arizona to being overseas, learning a different language, interacting with completely different people. And I came back from that experience completely besotted with Korea in particular and Asia more broadly.
For me, one thing was clear, where I'm from and the community I'm born into, that I will always be doing business. Gordon, you know Gujarat in India, Western India? Who's from India here? Yeah, and you know that Gujarati, what do they do? Business, that's right. So it was in my blood to do business, right? Everybody is good at business in that state, and somehow they're doing always some sort of business on the side. And from my school days, I was selling pen. The first pen I sold was Reynolds 4.0, the special ball pen which came out, nice one. And that was the first pen I sold, but duplicate of that. So it was imported from Mumbai, sold in Gujarat in a small school. Original pen was 5.5 rupees, and I was selling it for 2 rupees, the duplicate. It looks the same, but the refill is different. Yeah, so it's the same product I sold. But until from there onwards, I had always done some sort of business to make money, right? So I knew that I would be good at doing business.
So the Perth USAsia Centre was established with 2 basic assumptions behind it. Number one, that there was a critical mass, a sufficient number of global caliber strategic thinkers in Perth to warrant a think tank. Because if you asked me to set this up in Adelaide, I may not have the same experience. But between 5 universities here, between a state and local government focused like a laser on Asia, between a parliamentary delegation, past, present, and future, that's overwhelmingly foreign policy focused. Just think of Stephen Smith, Kim Beazley, Julia Bishop, Matthias Cormann, all deeply engaged in foreign policy, right? And then a world-class private sector and a state economy that is more integrated into Asia than it is into the rest of Australia. The grounds here for a think tank have proven to be true 5 years in. The second presumption behind our creation was that perspectives here in WA were sufficiently different from those that you would get in Canberra or Melbourne or Sydney as to warrant a WA-based think tank. In other words, sitting here in Australia's Indian Ocean capital, we have a different view of the world than those who are looking out over the mighty Tasman Sea, right? It's a different point of view. And that also has proven to be true.
So I always had something for a while, and it was given away to somebody else. And my father always said, "Don't worry, it will come back to you." I said, "Never come back to me. I'm already grown up now, and I don't have. You always give away my stuff." He says, "Don't worry, it will come back to you." And then I left India and went to UK and started studying, traveling around the world. And that's when I realized what he meant. Everywhere I went in the world, people were nice to me, kind to me, giving me food, accommodation, support, friendships, all sorts of things they were giving me. And I always went back to that word which my father kept saying, "Don't worry, it will come back to you." And that's where I learned the philosophy of karmic management, karma-based management. And that's the way I lead the business. So in our business, everything what we do is karmic management. That you're helping people, you're helping client, you're helping society in general, and what you're putting it out there is coming back to you. And that's the philosophy we have in a business.
I don't know that there's one single thing that I'd say this has been a great success on our side, other than that whole effort, which is essentially building a globally recognized strategic affairs community in Western Australia. Now, whether, again, last week on the streets of New York and Washington, or this immediate past week when I was in Seoul, I've got a network of thousands of friends around the world, and the very first thing they ask me is, when are you going to invite me to Perth? Because I'm a shameless huckster when I'm a shameless promoter. When I'm out there, my social media feed is just like, I work for Tourism WA, and I constantly bring my colleagues from around the globe down here and just completely spoil them, because this is really the most beautiful city on the entire planet. So now that we have built, both from our research and everything else, a reputation from WA as a place to be reckoned with in terms of policy, but also a place that people want to come, that's pretty good. Considering, to be very blunt, when I was offered the job 6 years ago, I knew where Perth was on the map, but I'd never heard of UWA, I'd never heard of the mining boom, I'd never heard of Margaret River, I'd never heard of Kings Park. To me, Perth was just a dot, and Australia was A and U. That was it. And now I can honestly say there are 10,000 people around the globe who know Perth as the home of the Perth USAsia Centre.
Job creation is one of the things which I value quite a lot. If you are a job creator rather than a job seeker, that's the greatest achievement. And along the line, I have seen people, in fact, I was in an Uber coming here, I was talking to the driver where they said the homelessness has increased right now in Perth. If you go around in the CBD road, St. George's Adelaide Terrace, you will see more people sleeping on the road than a year ago. It's just going crazy right now, right? The job are so important. It keeps the family safe, kids into the school, and husband and wife committed and in a good relationships. Job income is necessary. It's so good. And all the things I have done along the line, I have created quite a few jobs, and that's something which I can say that it's a give back to the society where we live in, where you are helping rather than donating money or charity here. If you are employing people and you're creating more jobs, I think that's what we need right now in the States, and that's what I've been focusing on past few years. And the reason I do that is because I don't want to be a job seeker, I want to be a job creator.
The final thing I'll add on here, though, is it's all about hard work, right? To be very blunt, the Perth USAsia Centre here in Western Australia, we have completely shaken up the Australian foreign policy community because we work hard. We're ambitious, right? We do a lot. So we do a lot more than any other think tank with a much smaller budget just because we work hard. And there's no substitute for hard work. And so if you really want to navigate or distinguish yourself, you do more. You do better work. You work harder. You're more sincere. You do better quality. So there is competition, but it's not rocket science, right?
Yeah.
It's just, if you're that passionate about the work, you make it happen.
Most of the international students are interested in two things. One, the visa, PR, and the citizenships. And second, getting a job, right? But what if we turn that around? That will be byproduct of you being involved in doing something, giving back to the community here. Getting involved. Really getting involved at the ground level, helping people, being part of the community, volunteering, being there truly living by the local value, mateship culture and everything. If you do that, you will achieve that resume. You will achieve that success, and you will get ultimately what you need in terms of visa and others and citizenships and everything. But when we come here, we are only interested in finding a job and getting the citizenship. That shouldn't be the only aim for international students. They have a lot to contribute to the local community here. And that involvement in the local community is the most, I suggest that you get involved in that. Get out of the campus, right?